All right, Bahamas. Commandment number 5. Honor thy father and mother. Let's go to work. So this could be a good episode. Let me see why this is going to be a good episode. This is going to be a good episode because this episode we doing for the kids. Honor thy father and mother. I'm doing it just for the kids. But here's the funny thing about it, Bahamas. I'm not even doing it for my kids. That's the crazy thing about this. You know what? Because my kids don't watch me. As embarrassing as that may seem, you can't be embarrassed to the truth. Bahamas, when I come on that TV every Sunday, you know what my kids do? They just look up at that TV and then go look for their iPad. They say, hey, see daddy on TV? Then go look for their iPad. So I'm not even doing it for my kids because they watching their iPad when I'm on the TV. I'm doing it. Let me tell you what I'm doing it for. Because I know who my core audience is. I'm doing it for all the kids who stuck at home with Grammy, and that TV is the only thing they got to watch. So they gotta watch me. That's who I'm doing it for. See, I know who my core audience is. I can't relate to kids who fighting over iPads. That's my kids. I can't relate to them. My growing up, my brought up, I wasn't like them. So I can't relate to them. I'm doing it for all the kids. Let me be serious now. I'm doing it for all the kids who want to be stars. Who want to shine when they grow up. But the problem is you can't shine or you find it hard to shine when the light's off. I'm doing it for all the kids who know what it means to have the orange drop cord in their window. Come on, you getting lights from the neighbor. That's who I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for the kids who want to be stars, who want to shine but their lights off. So it's hard to see where they're going. It's hard to see where you're going. It's hard to see how you're getting out of this. It's hard to see where life is going to take you when your lights off. I'm going to work today. Those are the kids I'm doing it for because I can't relate to my own kids. I can't relate to kids who fighting over iPads. In fact, I can tell you a true story. How much time I get? All right, I got enough time. Listen to this story. It's a funny story. This is about my first job. The very first job I ever had was answering phones. Let me tell you what. Because where I live, half of the time when our phone rang, it was for the neighbor. It was somebody calling for the neighbor. So what I would do is, let's assume the neighbor name was Mary. Somebody called for Mary on the home phone. Remember, they had no cell phones back then in the 80s. Someone called for Mary. I would hop over the wall and say, hey, Mary, someone on the phone to you. But guess what? I didn't always do it. Sometimes I would just let the phone ring and I ain't answering that because I didn't care. I was playing Nintendo. I didn't care who was calling. And then Mary realized that I wasn't giving her calls. So guess what Mary did? She didn't row. See, Mary was smart. What Mary did was start to bring a quarter or a candy every time she come to get the phone. And that was my first job because Mary knew when she came to use our phone, either she better have my quarter or my candy. And it was the yellow and red candy. You know that Paradise candy? That's the candy she used to have. So if she didn't have my candy, I wasn't going to. I know that's mean to say, but it's the truth. That's my first job. My very first job was kind of one of those jobs that happened serendipity, where me and Mary had an understanding. If you want me to come out my house, hop over the wall, and tell you the phone for you, you better come over there at my quarter. And that's my very first job. So that's why I'm not embarrassed when I say I can't relate to kids who fight over iPads. Come on. I was doing it for a quarter. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So I'm doing this for the kids. I'm doing this for the kids who lights are off, but they want to be stars, but they want to shine. And it's hard to see where you going when your lights off. It's hard to see where life going to take you when the lights off. When the orange drop cord in your window. That's the kids I'm doing it for. I can relate to them. I can't relate to the iPad kids. Sorry, they my kids. But anyway, it is what it is. So let's go to work. So we're going to say a prayer and we jump right into this. Honor thy father and mother. There's only one way to honor your father and mother, and I'm doing it for the kids. And I know who my core audience is. So I'm doing it for you. So God, we pray that you may bless us, guard us, protect us, and all things to Heavenly Father. Even speak the truth, and speak the truth even when it hurts. In Jesus Christ's name we pray, amen. I feel bad about talking with my kids, but it's the truth. I can't relate to them. They like their iPads. That's what they fight over, iPads. I don't even know how to fight over iPad. I didn't have them back then. All right, let's go to work. So listen to this now. So I got to warm you up first. Then I get a story for you, but first I gotta warm you up. So listen to this now. And this is how you honor your father and mother. It's only one way to honor your father and mother, and we're going deep on this one. So listen to me in Luke chapter 2. And when Mary and Joseph had fulfilled the days, they returned to Nazareth. But the child Jesus tarried behind in Jerusalem, and Joseph and his mother knew not. So here it is. You have the child Jesus doing stuff behind his parents' back. See, I tell you, I got to relate. I got to bring this one home. So we starting off wrong. So Jesus is doing stuff behind his parents' back. Let's continue on with the story. And it came to pass that after 3 days, they found Jesus in the temple, sitting in the midst of lawyers, both hearing them and asking them questions. So Bahamas, 3 days. They were searching for Jesus for 3 days. Bahamas. I'm talking to all the parents who, when you go to that school, if you gotta wait 3 minutes, it's a problem. It's a problem. If that child ain't sitting where they supposed to be sitting, because you know you gotta go back to work, plus the sun hot, and that child make you come out your car and walk around in the hot sun in your good work clothes, searching around for 3 minutes. Oh, it's a problem. They were searching for Jesus for 3 days. So not only is Jesus going behind their back and doing stuff, but they got to search for him for 3 days. See, this one deep. This one is about honoring your father and mother. Let's continue with the story. And when they saw Jesus, they were amazed. And his mother said to him, "Son, why have you dealt with us like this? And your father and I have sought thee sorrowing for 3 days." So hold on. He made his ma cry. She was sorrowing. That's how bad it is. She was in sorrow. And Jesus said to them, and listen to what Jesus said, because this is the only way to honor your father and mother. Listen to Jesus' response. "How is it that you sought me? Know ye not that I must," see, that's the important word here, "I must be about my father's business." The only way for you to honor your father and mother is to be about your father's business. Let's go to work. Let's go to work. That's why when I come on this TV, I tell you I'm on my job. I'm about my father's business. Let's go to work. So let's break this one down for you. Then we're going to really get in detail on this one. We starting at verse 43, and I can break this one up. Then we're gonna jump into something else. Listen to this now. And when Mary and Joseph had fulfilled the days, they returned to Nazareth, and the child Jesus tarried behind. So they were in one place. They returned to Nazareth. So they went in one direction. And the child Jesus tarried behind. He was in the next direction. So what am I trying to tell you? Because see, I got to explain to you how you be about your father's business. But we got to start this one off right. What I'm trying to tell you is this. When you about your father's business, it's some things, because see, they knew it not. It's some things that God ain't even going to tell your parents. Because see, you about your father's business. That's going to work. You think when David had to go fight Goliath, you think God could have told Jesse, say, "Listen to me, Jesse. David is going in one direction to fight the Philistines, but you got to stay home. Your baby boy is about to go kill a grown man, and you going to stay home and listen out for the news." You think Jesse would allow God to send David? See, they went in two different directions because David was about his father's business. See, I'm getting to a point here. What I'm trying to tell you is this. If Jesse had had that conversation with God, you know what he would have told God? He would have said, "God, there's no way you sending David to go fight a man. You know what you need to do? Don't send my son." This is what Jesse would have told God. Jesse would have said, "Send your own son to go fight Goliath." See, I'm getting to a point. And you know what God would have said? "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do better. I'm going to send both of my sons. I'm going to send Jesus and I'm going to send David. See, I'm going to work today because he's about his father's business." I could go deeper with this one. Let's go deeper with this one. Joseph, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob had a son called Joseph. You think God could have told Jacob, say, "You know what, Jacob, guess what? Joseph is going to have to go to jail. He's going to be accused of rape, and he's going to go through slavery just so that he could be the king of Egypt." Joseph would have said, Jacob would have said, "That's impossible. There's no way you're going to take my son Joseph." Remember, this Joseph with a coat of many colors. "There's no way you taking my favorite child and sending him to jail." See, it's some things God can't tell your parents. What am I trying to tell you? Is a lot of kids who've been to jail. It's some things that God couldn't tell them. Why? Because you still a king. You still can be a king. You just got to understand you about your father's business. See, it would have been impossible for God to have gone to Jacob and say, Joseph have to go to jail in order for him to be a king. Let me tell you why. In fact, let me explain that one to you. Because you know what God would have told Jacob? God would have told Jacob this. Guess what? The reason why he has to go to jail first, the reason why he has to go into slavery first, the reason why he has to be accused of rape first is because humility comes before honor. I'm about to make him king of Egypt. There's no way. If I don't send him to jail first, he's going to be able to keep his head on his shoulder. I got to humble him first. So when I make him a king, he understands he's doing it for God and not for man. See, I'm going to work today. So what am I trying to tell you? Let me wrap this one up. Because see, I'm trying to get you to what it is that you have to do to be about your father's business. But first, you have to understand that be about your father's business is some things the world ain't going to understand. It's some things your parents ain't going to understand. For you to truly honor your father and mother. Let's continue on with this story. Listen to this now. And we're in verse 46. And listen to what verse 46 says. And it came to pass. Because remember now, Jesus was about his father's business. It came to pass that after 3 days, they found Jesus in the temple, sitting in the midst of both the doctors, hearing them and asking them questions. So what's the important part here? What is your father's business? What did it say? After 3 days, they found Jesus. That's what I'm trying to get to you. You mean to tell me you have a child, or you're a child, you on drugs, strung out for years. After 3 days, you see, that's the whole death and resurrection. After 3 days, you find Jesus in the temple. I mean, in 3 days, I went to church, find Jesus, and I was on drugs for 30 years, and I could have done this a long time, so I'm going to work today. So what does it mean to be about your father's business? In 3 days, for you, 3 days may be 3 seconds to find Jesus. You may hear this and say, you know what? I need Jesus now. For God, 3 days may be like 1,000 years. But in 3 days, they found Jesus. Where? In church. I don't know where your church is. Your church may be the TV. But in 3 days, they found Jesus. And that's what it means to be about your father's business. Listen to what it said. It said, and Jesus was sitting in the midst of the doctors, hearing them and asking them questions. What are they saying? Jesus had to find Jesus. So Jesus had to find himself. Listen to what it said. He was sitting in the midst of doctors, asking them questions and hearing them out. That means Jesus was finding himself. What did the Bible say? Jesus grew in wisdom and in honor with both God and man. That's how he got favor. So he was coming into himself. So Jesus was finding Jesus. And then it said, why do you think it said they searched for 3 days and they found him in the church? So his parents is finding Jesus. See, this one go deep. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Go back to the story of the prodigal son. He came in of himself. He came to himself. So Jesus had to come to himself. You have to come to yourself. And the only way to come to yourself is to find Jesus. Period. And that's how you honor your father and mother. You find Christ. And once you have Christ in the vessel, you can smile at the storm. And let's go on. Listen to this. And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why have you done this to us? And they were sorrowing. They were in sorrow. And Jesus said unto them, How is it that you sought me? Did you know not that I must be about my father's business? So let's go deeper into this. And so what God is saying is this. Because Jesus was about his father's business, he saved both his mother and his father. He saved the whole world. And what I'm trying to tell you as a child, if you about your father's business, if you find Christ, then forget about the generational wealth. Forget about the wealth they say for my kids and my grandkids. The generational wealth will flow in the next direction. You can save your mother and your father. Your mother and your father who don't even know who Christ is. You buying them a house. You buying them a car. You paying off their mortgage. Because see, it operate that way. See, it go in the next direction. And that's what Jesus did. When Jesus saved the world by honoring his father and his mother. How? By putting God first. By being about his father's business. And what was his father's business? By finding Christ. By finding himself. By getting on the cross and doing the work of God. By doing that, he saved his parents. And what I'm telling you as kids, forget the fact that daddy can't pay the light bill. You better than that. You bigger than that. If you about your Father's business, if you find Christ, you pay for the light, you pay for the house, you pay for the car. That's how this thing work. All right, let's go to work. Now that we understand what it means to honor thy father and mother, we got to go deeper into this one. There's only one way for you to honor your father and mother. It's not by doing everything that they say, because some things they say may not be for you. You may have some kids whose parents don't want them to go to college. You don't even understand the concept of what education means. You got to do what's best for you. You got to go to God. You got to understand. You got to go to that Bible. You got to do God's will first. You can't worry about what they're doing. Some of you, your parents weren't there. Don't worry about that. You get God. He never leave you or forsake you. So to honor your father and mother is to do one thing. That's to be about your father's business. That's to be on your job. That's to put in work. That's why you always come to see me and say, I'm going to work today. And once you do that, you know it's to find Christ. I gotta find Christ. What did it say? I must be about my father's business. I must find Christ. After I find Christ, then we can talk. Because now I have a barometer, or I have a moral compass, or I understand how to look at the world with understanding how to go to God on my problems and how to make a conscious decision and a godly one. And that's what you do. So listen to this story. I'm going to give you the top 3 reasons why you have to find Christ. The top 3 reasons why you as a child have to be about your father's business. And listen to this. And we're in Matthew chapter 1 verse 19. Now the birth of Jesus Christ was in this way. So listen to how Jesus was born. See, in this way. This is the birth of Jesus Christ. I'm bringing this one home. Like I tell you, I know who my core audience is. I'm doing it for the babies who know what a drop cord look like hanging out their window. So listen to this. And now the birth of Jesus Christ was in this way. When his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, before they came together, she found that she was of a child, or with the child of the Holy Ghost. And listen to what Joseph did. And Joseph, her husband, being a just man, not willing to make a public example, was minded to put her away privately. So what is the first reason why I must be about my father's business? Because they wanted to put me away. I'm talking to all the kids of single parent families. What did Joseph know? What Joseph knew was this. Once I put the mother away, I'm putting the child away. I'm going to work today, Bahamas. That's what he knew. She had a child. He didn't know who the child daddy was. And he said, you know what? I'm putting this woman away. Once you put her away, you put the child away. And what's the problem with that? The problem with that is this. The greatest gift any father, I don't care if it's out of wedlock, I don't care if you're married, not each other, it don't matter. The greatest gift any father could give a child is to love his mother. Period. I'm not saying to marry his mother, because some of these women crazy. I gotta be honest. I never say marry her. The greatest gift you could give your child is to love his mother. Why? Because the hardest relationship you and your child are going to ever have is that father-son relationship. And the problem is, how you going to have a relationship with your child, with your outside child, or with that child who don't live with you, if you all ain't got nothing in common? The problem is, the one thing you all have in common is his mother. So if he love his mother, and you can't stand his mother, you all ain't got nothing in common. And ain't nothing you all can talk about. Come on, Bahamas, I'm going to work today. You know what? Every single one of my fights started in high school and in primary school. Listen to me. I used to fight a lot. But guess what? It's because I used to play sports. But besides that, let me show you how every single one of my fights started. There's only one thing you had to say. That's your mom. You know what they say? Let me tell you something. You could have fouled me hard in basketball. You could have stolen something out of my bag. But the only thing you got to say to me for me to fight you, say that's your mom. Once you say that, that's fight. That's a green light. That's a fight on sight. I don't care if we in assembly, we break up all them chairs. That's fight. Don't say nothing about my mom. Don't do that. That's fight on sight. So what am I trying to tell you? Rule number 1, or reason number 1, I'm talking to the kids now. Why you must be about your father's business is because they plan to put you aside. They put your mother aside. They put you aside. And what do you know from all of that? God will never leave you or forsake you. They did it to Jesus. Why they can't do it to you? I'm going to work today. We can even go deeper with that one. See, the problem is, let me go deeper with this one. I got time. The problem is, what did Jesus teach you? Betrayals come with a kiss. What did Judas do? Judas kissed him on his cheek. At some point, your father kissed your mother on her cheek and then betrayed you by not being there for you. I'm going to work today. Some of you, your father may kiss you on your cheek right before you had to go to prison. Why? Because betrayals come with a kiss. The ones closest to you will betray you. I'm talking to all the kids who've been through divorce, who've seen their parents kiss before. Now all of a sudden they hate each other and they ain't caught. Because betrayals come with a kiss. See, Jesus went through it, so you know what it is to go through it. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. If betrayals come with a kiss, and that same father who kissed you on your cheek is the same one who walked out on you, then you know I must be about my Father's business. I must find Christ. Why? Because God will never leave me or forsake me. All right, let's go to work. Number 2. We can go to number 2 now. I think that one is done. What is number 2? Number 2 is this. Let me look at Luke chapter 2 and verse 7. And listen to this. And she brought forth her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger because there was no room for him in the inn. So what does that mean? I must be about my Father's business because there's no room for me in the bed. Come on, I'm going to go deeper with this one, but let's start off soft. It's simply no room for me in the bed, Bahamas. I'm sleeping on the floor. My other siblings in the bed, but I can't fit in the bed. I'm the biggest one. So you know what? I'm sleeping on the floor. Or it's no room for me in the bedroom. So I'm sleeping in the front room. It's cool out there anyway. I don't want to be in the bedroom. It's overcrowded. So it's no room for me. I'm talking to all the kids who are going through the struggle, who know what COVID is. Not because they sick, because they poor up. And they can feel that they pouring out. Because they living with other people. They living with in-laws. And there's no room for them. No room for them in the bed, no room for them in the room. It's just no room. But let's go deeper with this one. Let's go deeper with this one. We can go deeper with this one. Here's why I must find Christ. Because see, when it says there's no room for me in the inn, we can go real deep with that one. Because see, it's no room for me in the closet. I'm talking to all the demons now. Because see, the homosexual spirit, that used to be in the closet. See, it used to be in the closet. It used to be in somewhere. Not that in the front room. So you get children who battling demons that their parents never had to battle. I'm going to work. If you go into Revelations, you can read about it. What did God say? God said He'll unleash spirits, demons upon this world, fallen angels who will take out 1/3 of the population. It's a spiritual killing. So what am I trying to tell you? It's the same thing happening now. That homosexual spirit that used to be in the closet. See, years ago, that used to be in the closet. But now, that's been released. That's all over the TV. You come home, that's on your TV, sitting up in your front room, all over Netflix. So you battling a different type of spirits. That's why I feel for all the young kids out there battling that. Because in yesteryear, that was something that was a secret. That's something that the world never told you was a good thing. That's something that was in the closet. But now you have a group of kids who battling homosexuality, the likes to which your parents have never seen. So they never understand what you're going through. When all the celebrities telling you that it's right. And they get hate crimes against it. If you speak against it, they call you a bigot. See, I come on this evening and I tell you the truth. So what am I trying to tell you? What I'm trying to tell you is, for Jesus, it was no room in the inn. He was in the filth. He had to go out there in the stable with the animals. And that's what we're seeing now. It's no room for all the kids. There's no room in the bed. There's no room in the bedroom. There's no room. In the closet, there's no room. They get some spirits they fighting against straight out of Revelation. And they battling it by themselves because their parents can't understand what's going on. Because they never had to go through it. So I'm going to work today. And let's continue on. And listen to number 3. And we're in Matthew chapter 2. And verse 16. And then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, he was exceedingly angry. And he sent forth and killed all the children. See, this one could be deep because they're killing kids up there. And killed all the children that were in Bethlehem and the region thereof, from 2 years old and under. So this is what Jesus had to go through. And according to the time at which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. So what is reason number 3? I must find Jesus. I must be about my Father's business because it ain't safe on my block. Not even for the cops. That's how bad it is. The cops don't even come around here. I'm talking about all the kids who battling for their life with gang violence and everything else that's going on. All the bullying. It's not safe for the cops. Let me take this one deeper for you. What I'm trying to tell you is this. It ain't nobody policing the internet. So your kids there for half of the time. You don't even know what they're going through because you ain't there with them. In fact, I have a good story. Let me give you a story on this one. This is how I can wrap it up. It's a true story. Let me say what my mother used to tell me about. My mother had a husband, and she always used to tell me this story. That's why I'm going to tell it to you. And you know what my mother used to tell me? My mother used to say, he was on drugs, and I left him. He was on coke. And I used to say to mommy, tell me something. Why is it that you stayed with him for so long? And you know what she told me? She said the reason why I stayed with my husband for so long, even though he was on coke, she said because I didn't know what coke was. She said I would come in the bathroom. True story. My mommy always told me this story. I would come in the bathroom. I would see the white powder on the mirror and I would just brush it off. I didn't know what coke was. See, I'm going somewhere with this one. You know, if I'm telling you this story, it's a personal story. I'm going somewhere with this one. She would say I would go in the bathroom, see the white powder on the mirror, and I didn't know what it was, but it was coke. So why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you this story because the most consumed drug in the world is pornography. Now watch this. The same way my mother didn't know what coke was on the bathroom mirror, you don't know that when you look in your phone and all of a sudden you seen all these pop-ups of pornography and people having sex. See, you don't know that's the coke residue. See, that's the crack residue in the buttons of your phone. What I'm trying to tell you is this. The same way my mother of yesteryear, see this back in the 70s and 80s, she didn't know what coke looked like on a mirror. The new mirror is your phone. When you look at your phone, you see a reflection of yourself. Whatever you watch on that phone is a reflection of you. And you can't see there's a bunch of pornography popping up on that phone. And you don't know why. You just figure, you know what, something wrong. Or you open up a tablet or you open up a computer and you see the pornography popping up. That's the coke residue. The problem is you can't see. The same way my mother couldn't see that coke was coke and that's a drug. You can't see that pornography is a drug. And pornography is the most consumed drug in the world. Why? Because it's free. Any drug that's free is the most consumed drug in the world. Let's say like coke, you ain't got to go out and buy this. You can sit in your house and get it for free. The devil is playing for keeps. So what am I trying to tell you? What I'm trying to tell you is, let's go back to the story. Jesus grew up and they were trying to kill him. What I'm trying to tell you is, it's the same thing Satan is trying to do to your children. They trying to kill your children. That's why I must find Christ. That's why I'm telling the kids, you have to find Christ. Why? Because police don't come on your block. It's crack residue in the buttons of the phone. They want you on drugs. They want you strung out. And that's what the world is today. Let's continue on. Enough said. Let's continue on. And listen to this. And this is how we're going to wrap it up. In Matthew chapter 3 and verse 17. And as soon as Jesus was baptized, he came up out of the water. And suddenly the heavens were opened. And he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and resting on him. And a voice from heaven said, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." So here it is. Before Jesus even started his ministry, before the miracles, before the feeding of the 5,000, before Jesus was on the cross, listen to what his Father told him. "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." And that's reason number one. In fact, that should have been the first one. That's reason number one why I must be about my Father's business, because I ain't here to please man. I'm here to please God. That's it. I ain't a people pleaser. And God was pleased with me before I even did anything. From day one, before my birth. That's what he was telling Jesus. This is my Son in whom I am well pleased. Before you accomplish anything, before you've been through anything, I am pleased with him. And that's how you honor your father and mother. So there's only one way to honor your father and mother. And that's simply to be about your Father's business, to be on your job, to put in our work. I gotta find Christ. Before the money, before the fame, before the marriage. Definitely, listen to me. When you get married, you can need Christ. Before the marriage, I gotta find Christ. And that's for the kids. I'm doing this one for the kids. So God, I appreciate you. Bless us. God is protect us. Help us in all things. To understand, if we want to honor you, if we want to honor our fellow man, if we want to honor our neighbor as ourselves, the Heavenly Father, then we gotta find Christ and put Christ first. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.